Let's look at percentages. A percentage is a number with a denominator of 100, and percentages are represented with the symbol percent. It's a common symbol that we use to represent percentage. Most of our marks are expressed as a percentage, so you're very familiar with this symbol. For example, we could have 20%. This is a percentage. We could have 30%. Could have 45%, and so on. All these are percentages. These are numbers whose denominator is 100. Let's look at some mathematics relating to percentages. Convert the following percentages to fractions. The first one is 20%. In order to convert a percentage to a fraction, all we do is get the number 20 divided by 100, because we said percentage is a number whose denominator is 100. So this is the meaning of percentage, and all we have to do now is reduce this number by 20, which is 1 out of by 20, that's 5. And part B, 50% will be the same as 50 over 100, which gives us by 50, it's a half. Then part C, 23%, it's the same as 23 out of 100. We can't reduce this any further. Then part D is 35.5%. We can first convert this. Oh, this is like 70 plus 1, that's 71. So that's 71 over 2, then divided by 100. It becomes 71 over 2 times, you remember how to divide fractions. You multiply by the reciprocal of this, which is 1 over 100, and the fraction becomes 71 over 200. That's how we express percentages as fractions. Convert the following fractions to percentages. In order to convert any fraction to percentage, 3 over 4, we just multiply the fraction by 100, and then reduce. And this becomes by 4, 25. 25 times 3, which is 75% with the symbol. That's how we convert a fraction to percentage. Then part B, 2 over 3 multiplied with 100. And this gives us 3, cannot reduce this. So we multiply 200 over 3, which becomes 66 whole numbers, and 2 over 3%, because 3 goes into 266 times, leaving a remainder of 2. So that's how we convert fractions to percentages. All you do is multiply the given fraction by 100. Express the following decimals as percentages. Now, just like we've done in fractions, to express a given decimal as a percentage, all we do is multiply the decimal by 100. So multiply this by 100, and we know this decimal point moves 2 places to the right. That becomes 25%. Then part B, 0.05 times 100, 5%. Then part C, 0.40 times 100 becomes that's 40%. Then part D, 1.25 times 100 gives us 125%. So when you multiply a decimal that's greater than 1, then you get a percentage that is bigger than 100. Express 25 as a percentage of 75. Now to express a number as a percentage of another, all we do is we get the number divided by this total, and then multiply with 100%. And this becomes by 25 once, 25 3. That's 1/3 times 100%, which becomes 100/3. 3 goes into 100 33 times, leaving a remainder of 1. So it gives us 33.33%. So 25 is the same as 33.33% of 75. 10% of a certain senior 1 class are girls. If there are 30 girls in the class, how many students are there in the class? So we shall begin by letting the number of students to be equal to any letter of your choice, Y. So if we got 10% of this total number of students, those are girls and they're 30. So if we got 10% of Y is equal to 30, and we know 10% is 10 out of 100 of Y is equal to 30. 10 out of 100 times Y, of means multiplication, gives us 30. So we need to multiply both sides by 100, so that this cancels. We get 10Y is equal to 3,000 by 10 by 10. Y is equal to 300. Therefore, there are 300 students in the class. If I wanted to get now the number of boys, then I could get my 300. I subtract 30. That gives me 270 boys. Increase 20,000 by 25%. The knowledge of increasing or decreasing by a certain percentage is very useful in profit and loss. So let's try to increase 20,000 by 25%. I'll assume the fraction, of course, is 100, we're going to add this 100 over 100. We're going to add 25%, which is 25 over 100. This gives us 125 over 100. So in order to get the percentage, when we increase 20,000 by 25%, it will give us 125 out of 100 times 20,000, that is 25,000. That's how we increase by a given percentage. Decrease 80,000 by 4%. So we do the same thing. This will be the same as 100 minus 4. We're decreasing, so we subtract out of 100. That's the same as doing this times 80,000. This gives us 100 minus 4 is 96 out of 100 times 80,000. The zeros cancel, some two zeros cancel, and we get, that is going to be 76,800. Alternatively, you could have found 4% of this, and then you work it out in the reverse way, but the answer will be the same. The company increased its workers' salaries by 25%. Peter was earning 200,000 shillings. Determine his new salary after the increment. So we're just going to increase 200,000 by 25. And that's going to be his new salary will be equal to 100. We're increasing, so we add 25, everything out of 100 times 200,000. And this gives us 125 over 100 times 200,000, which gives us around shillings 250,000. So Peter's salary is now 250,000 after an increment of 25%. In a test marked out of 40, Tom scored 70%. How many marks did he score? So we're going to let his original marks be any letter like P. That means if we got P out of 40 and we multiply by 100, it's like we're changing to percentage. It would give us 70%. And now we have to multiply both sides by 40. Or we can reduce by the 0 here, so that we just multiply here. Let's multiply by 40. By 40, 100p is equal to 2800. Divide by 100. Divide by 100. Our p is equal to 28. So originally, Tom had scored 28 out of 40, and which was converted to a percentage, giving 70%.